just don't get to be distracted. Nobody can distract me from my day. I like using softwares for what they're best for. I know some softwares do a lot of things, but like if it's like halfway decent at something and just really good at one thing, I might use it for that one thing if I need it, but I don't need to use it for something else if it's not beneficial. Like something like CoStar as an example, right? Or CREsync as an example. If you don't want to spend more money, you could use the data. I just want to be clear with you that the numbers aren't as accurate as something like Reonomy. To give you a simple example here, if you pulled, let's say, 100 phone numbers from CoStar, CREsync, and Reonomy, you're probably going to have almost double the connection rate than you would have on CREsync or CoStar. Doesn't mean you won't have some decent numbers, right? But you'd probably have about double the connection rate, at least 50%, but probably double. Just keep in mind that, like, obviously, I don't always recommend just spending more money today, but it is something that, let's say you put a deal under contract or two or three or whatever closes, you can spend some money on Reonomy, or if you got some extra cash, maybe invest in the software because it definitely is beneficial if you plan on making the calls. So what I recommend is just to get you in a good routine where you don't need to spend money right away. I would recommend that you're pulling numbers from CREsync and CoStar to start, and let's just get you in the right routine. And once you're actually doing it consistently, and you can see that from past history, then it might make sense to invest in the next software.
Kind of a game plan that I had in mind as well. Makes sense.
Perfect. So
Use what I have available.
100%. Yeah, I would just recommend using what you have available for now. And then let's get you into a good routine first. So what I'm going to recommend is the following, okay? Today, I'm going to say I want to come up with a strategic plan for the next 90 days together minimum.
Okay.
Because the next 90 days is just about building the muscle. It's about building the muscle specifically around the best habits in your business. Because I want to take a step now further, which is the $1 million earner, okay, version of you is going to be doing what on a regular basis?
Lead generation and lead follow-up and
Okay, so hold on, let's get real clear though. I agree with you,
conversion.
right? So I agree 100% because let's just go one step at a time. Consistent lead generation, right, was the first thing you said. How much time and when?
I'd say 3 hours a day.
From what time to what time? So I like it. 3 hours a day. Okay, cool.
10 to 1.
10 to 1. Okay. When do you get to the office and you're like, I'm working now?
10.
10 o'clock. Okay. What do you do before 10 o'clock? Is that like family time?
I'll give you my routine. I get up 5:30 and I do like some prayer time, and I do like a devotional, and then I walk the dog. I work out. So that's typically, a good hour and a half there. And then I have my breakfast and then get ready for work.
Being a part of here, like, again, I'm going to be direct. You're talking about 5:30 wake up, which again, like, look, I love prayer. I love walking the dog. And I love working out. I do literally almost the same three things right when I wake up as well. So I'm doing the same three things, but I'm getting to work at like 7:30 at the latest.
Okay.
So I'm wondering where's the other 2.5 hours going is my point. How long are you spending on prayer?
The devotion time is about an hour, roughly.
Okay. I can respect that. That's fine.
And
Walking
then
the dog's 15 minutes.
walking the dog is way more than that. It's about an hour.
Can
And
we,
then,
is there a way to drop that down? Because I'm saying, look, you're spending, all I'm saying is the $1 million version of you who's got his business cranking. I'm not talking about right now. I'm saying the premier version of what you're capable of. That version of you, I'm imagining, is going to start working before 10 o'clock in the morning. So don't get me wrong, the individual of you who maybe has been making $1 million a year plus net after taxes, who has a team of individuals who are supporting him in doing that, right? Where he is not the sole provider of the income in the organization, where your accounts have several $1 million in it, maybe you own a bunch of real estate, right? Like, and you've cranked on every single bit of your capacity. That version of you who's done that for a few years probably can come into the office at 10 o'clock. But the version of you who's going to build it, there's no way you're starting work at 10 o'clock. All I'm trying to say to you is that, like, we're going to take some baby steps, right? I'm going to slowly just give you some kind of 2 cents here, which is like, this is even a conversation I had to have with myself, which is like, you can get comfortable really easily, like we were talking about. So it's like, if we talk about multi-millionaire version of you, that version of you, what time can he commit to working? I'm not saying tomorrow, by the way. I'm just saying that version of you.
I mean, I could make it in by 9, I guess.
Cool. All right. Fine. Look, all I'm saying is watch, because what I want to do is I want to say, and how soon do you think you can get to coming into the office by 9 o'clock? Is that a tomorrow thing, or is that a 90-day game plan? As I think you could do that in probably 2 weeks or less.
Probably start that next week.
Okay, cool. Great. Again, my intention here is to do small baby steps that don't feel crazy so that it can feel comfortable in your body doing these actions. Because if I said, hey, get to the office tomorrow at 6 o'clock in the morning, you're not doing that. So it's like, great. So let's just say 9 o'clock in the morning. New version of you is going to say 9 a.m. Now, 9 to 12, as an example, could be your prospecting time, 3 hours. All right. We're in agreement there?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So we got 3 hours of prospecting. That is only outbound dialing. That is
Okay.
outbound dialing. That's outbound email. That's outbound text message. You're not allowed to respond to a message. Don't answer a phone call. The whole purpose of that 9 to 12 is just to handle outbound everything. And I would even tell you what I always like to do first, by the way. So if you're getting to the office at 9, I'm guessing you're not going to start dialing at 9 o'clock. Because if you're like opening the door to your office at 9 o'clock in the morning, you're probably like, that doesn't count as not dialing time. So what I would even say is, how much time do you think you need to be settled? I want to be as realistic as possible here, where you could be in front of your computer like you are with a phone in your hand dialing.
I don't know, 9:30?
Okay, cool. So what I want to do though is say, let's do 9 o'clock to, you have 9 to 9:15 to get settled. And then from 9:15, I want you to add a 9:15, okay, to 9:30. And by the way, 9:30 on the nose, you can set a timer. Your phone is dialing at 9:30. It's not like I'm going to start the process, because then the process takes 5 minutes to get set up. So the point is 9:15 to 9:30, which I do this, which I'm about to describe to you, from 7:30 to 7:45, maybe 8 a.m. at the latest. Because I have a meeting with my executive assistant at 7:45 in the morning every day. Sometimes my morning meeting with myself, which I'm about to describe to you, takes a little bit longer. But this 15-minute meeting, by the way, I also do with all of my team members. So I have one by myself, and then I have one with my executive assistant, and then I have a 15-minute call with basically, it's a group call, but with all of my team members. And they're all individually doing this, which is they go through 3 quick things. Number 1, red flags. You have 15 minutes to cover this, by the way, 9:15 to 9:30. You're covering red flags. Red flag is basically anything that a deal's going to fall apart, a client hates your guts, you got a termination agreement, anything that happens that essentially needs your attention immediately. Second thing is a to-do list. Now, I'm not a huge fan of to-do lists, but I like to get things done. And without a list, you don't know what you need to get done versus not. The whole purpose of your to-do list is to make sure you write everything that has to be done today, or you can't leave your office. I like to kind of separate my to-do list into 2 sections. One is I have to get it done today or I can't leave my office. And then I have a bottom part, which is a running list of all the items that have to get checked off. Project, and then you can add things like projects and other things. Again, you can have like marketing campaigns as an example. You want to do a new thing on social media. You want to hire a new employee, all that kind of stuff. You're not going to do that in one day. That'll be a project, but like today must do list, right? That's at the top. So like follow up with John, call Sally, right? Whatever it is, that has to be done. Last thing you're going to do is you're going to set your goals for today. Goals for me, I literally write the same thing down every single day, which is this little post-it note here. And on this post-it note, I just write the same thing every single day. I write down, this is for me, 2 seller leads every day, 2 offers written every day, and then 2 deals accepted every day from my team. That's what I write down personally. And then I write down 2 like big vision things, which I write down make $20 million. And then I wrote down on here $1 million deal, because I want to do a deal that I make over $1 million on. But basically I have that post-it note and it literally just sits right in front of me every day. But the reason why I do this is because, again, I'm setting my intentions. I know exactly. So the second I leave this meeting, I have my red flags written out. I know exactly who I need to call immediately. I got my to-do list written. I got my project list ongoing, so I know what exactly needs to be done in my life for me to become successful and not feel stressed. It's not all in my head. And then I have my post-it in front of me, which I always just like to use post-its because I can reuse them 1,000 times over. I have my post-its, and that just has my goals for today. This way, by the time 9:30 starts, your mind is clean. You're not always thinking about all these things I have to do. It's all on a list. It's organized. You got it ready to go. So what's going to happen here is that I would even tell you to spend however long it takes. Let me say it differently. I would tell you that by 9:30, you should not have only had everything I just told you to have done, but you should have already called your red flags. So you have 15 minutes to handle everything. The meeting itself should take 5 to 10 minutes, maybe at most. At most 10 minutes. And red flags is literally a quick phone call. My point is, what I want you to think about it is, a lot of people, when I say like, oh, why don't we have a meeting today? Right? Like you've done team meetings before, right?
Yeah.
What's your typical like go-to when you say, let's have a meeting today? How long in your mind is that meeting?
30 to 40 minutes, 45 minutes.
Perfect, right? Most people say 30 minutes to an hour. For me, longest meetings are 30 minutes. Longest. Okay. Most of my meetings are 15. And I try to do most of my meetings in 5 minutes, right? Because I don't have the time to just talk, right? It's like, what is the problem we're trying to solve on the agenda? Let's solve it and let's go do some work. So it's like I try to get through my things as fast as I possibly can. There's no diddy-daddling, whatever, right? I just want to get through the meeting as fast as I can, get the job done, move on. So this entire meeting, 5 minutes or 10 minutes max with yourself, 5 to 10 minutes max to handle all the red flags. You're just calling everybody on your red flag list. They don't answer you, by the way. You handle it after your prospecting session. The reason why I say all this is because by 9:30, I want you to be clean slated. This means everything's been, you're settled. You've done your morning meeting with yourself, call it CEO time. You've handled that. You handled the red flags. 9:30, your dialer's open. I got my lead list going. And I'm ready to go. So call it 9:30 on the nose. And I would tell you to go to at least 12:30/1 p.m. Whatever it takes to do the following, okay? Because 3 hours is one benchmark, but what most people make the mistake of doing is that they only look at it from the amount of time they dialed, not the actual result they got dialing. So as an example, you say, Henry, I made my 3 hours of dials every single day this week. And I'm like, okay, that's fantastic. Great job. How many leads did you generate? 0. It's like, okay, well, it didn't really mean anything, right? Like, so, like, listen, there are some days that I go without generating any leads. Like, I can dial 400 numbers and you might not get somebody, right? However, I want you to know that the main metric I want you to think about is 2 seller leads a day. That is the dollar figure I want you to think about, because those leads can turn into money. It's not just the amount of time you dial. And obviously, as you get better at prospecting and blocking off this time, the better you get at, the scripting, objection handling. It'll be easier for you to generate more leads fast. I just want you to think about it during that period of time. The whole purpose is 2 leads a day. So if you go in 30 minutes, you can generate 2 leads. Great. I probably would continue to dial. But the point is, don't think about it as you did your job, I can leave today, until you generated your 2 seller leads. Okay?
Yeah.
So that's your minimum benchmark. And like every agent I hire on my team, their benchmark 2 seller leads a day. Now, again, they don't need to be wonderful. They don't need to be people who want to sell a $2 million building for $1 million. They could be somebody who wants to sell a $2 million building for $3 million. Like that is still somebody, but as long as they have a somewhat appropriate motivation level to sell. Right. It's not just, I want $20 million for a $2 million building. There's someone who absolutely has no interest in selling. A true seller lead, someone and has some type of reasonable motivation to sell the property. That's all. That's the whole purpose. And obviously you have more than a 15-second conversation. Right?
How do you identify who you're calling or who you're contacting?
So let's talk about it. What's your asset class that you're targeting right now? Most of your business.
Most is industrial.
Industrial. Wonderful. So all you're going to do is that, in what county is Hemet in?
Riverside County.
Riverside. Okay. So what you can do, let's look at this. Riverside.
I'm in the Inland Empire area, so San Bernardino.
San Bernardino. Yeah. So what I want you to do is that I want you to think about it is your geographic just expanded by like 5 to 10x. So like as an example, typically when I'm speaking with somebody, the first thing we're going to talk about when it comes to data and leads and all that kind of stuff is that I like to immediately shift your mindset to statewide agent versus county or city. So don't get me wrong, I don't need you going all the way up to San Francisco, okay? But I do want you to think about it from the lens of driving 2, 3, 4. 2 hours is like Starbucks, I guess, in California. But like everywhere you go is 2 hours. But I am saying that you will start expanding your geographic so that you can try to do more business. Because there's not enough business being done in one city where you're going to be able to make $1 million a year. So I would definitely start thinking about like your greater tri-county area minimum. So let me see here. Riverside. Let me see what this MSA is. Yeah, that's not even big enough. I would go LA County even.
Yeah, I was thinking Orange. Orange is there. Orange County and San Bernardino.
Love it. Yeah. I'd even go all the way down to San Diego, man. My point is, I would look at this in the sense of, let me just make sure. San Diego. Yeah. So I would definitely do, I just added in Reonomy as an example. The Riverside, San Bernardino, Ontario MSA, the San Diego Chula and the Vista Carlsbad MSA, and then the Los Angeles, Long Beach, Anaheim MSA. That greater area, okay, that lower this I guess the southern tip, basically, right? Yeah. Of California is a perfect opportunity for you. Perfect. Okay. And that business, the amount of business that's being done, by the way, industrial sales. I'm just going to share my screen for 2 seconds so you can see what I'm looking at here. This screen right here, okay, you got within the last 12 months, property type industrial, there was 3,688 properties that traded. I
Mhm.
love seeing this because I love seeing things where if I got 1% market share, I can still do, I mean, dude, 30 deals a year is well over
Yeah.
$1 million. Like this is probably a market where you could comfortably do 2 to 3 million bucks a year easily. Right? Like that is achievable in your marketplace within the next few years. Like at least it could support it is what I'm trying to say. Because some areas people look at, they're like, oh, I'm just going to do business in River. Like, watch this, right? Riverside. This is what most brokers do, right? They go, I'm a broker in Riverside. It's like, okay, in the last 12 months, there's only 383 properties. If you took 3%, or sorry, 1% market share was my metric, you'd be doing 3 or 4 deals a year, which is barely anything. So I like to be like, there's not enough business in this one market, which is why I'm trying to say, I just say you 10x your market share, right? You could just immediately 10x your capacity in that market. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second.
I see.
Okay. So any warehouse, okay, what you're going to do is you're going to check warehouses. Obviously, you're only going to do industrial, but you're going to do industrial and you're going to expand two things, okay, geographically. Number two, though, is that what you're going to do is that you're going to expand when it comes to making sure. Sorry, what I'll do here is I'll do sales price over $1 million. So when it last sold, I know I could sort this by the way in Reanime. Some of these other platforms you can't do this by the way, but I want to do something that sold previously for over $1 million because what that does is controls my sales price because I want to stop selling stuff that's under $1 million.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
No doubt.
so you're going to sort by properties that have traded last over $1 million. Two, you're going to sort by stuff that hasn't traded in at least 10 years. Okay, hasn't sold in 10 years, and I'm telling you, that's all I want you to think about. You don't need to worry about anything else. Industrial buildings that sold for, and probably the only other thing maybe is square footage, but sometimes the square footage isn't accurate anyways. Sold for more than $1 million when it last traded. Okay, one. Two, it hasn't sold in 10 years. Three, that's the greater MSA. Four, industrial only. That's it. That's it.
Done.
And then every property on that list, which is probably several, I mean, probably tens of thousands of properties. I mean, let me see here. 8,400 properties. Hasn't sold in the last 10 years. When it did sell, it was over $1 million. In Reanime, I have over 8,000 properties in that greater MSA area. And if I just check off a box, which includes a phone number, I now have 7,698 properties. So I'm saying you got a database basically of 8,000 properties to target.
Okay.
Okay.
Got
Which is a great database. Okay.
Yeah.
So that means you're going to export this list by however many you can at a time, and you're just going to start prospecting. You want 2 leads a day. Because think about it. What you're going to do is if that means 2 leads a day, because obviously every phone call you make, you're not going to connect with the owner every single time, right? You'll make 200 calls. You speak with 20 people. 2 of them are leads. There's your metric. That's it.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
so I know we're coming up on 7 o'clock here on my time. So what we're going to do now is that now you're at 12:30-ish in the afternoon. Okay, maybe call it 1 o'clock at the latest, whatever it takes to get to 2 leads.
Hmm.
I would always recommend you're eating at your desk. I eat here. It looks like you got some lunch behind you, right? Like you bring your lunch every day. Cool,
Yeah,
amazing,
typically.
amazing. So I just like to say, like, because most people just leave and they go out for an hour and 30 minutes for lunch. It makes no sense. You're wasting time. So now 1 o'clock rolls around. The next 30 minutes, the entire purpose of the next 30 minutes after your prospecting session is for follow up and follow up only. You have 30 minutes. What I'll do is I'll go on my phone. I'll set a timer, 30 minutes. I still can't respond to emails. I still cannot handle anything else. I got 30 minutes left. From the second I finish all my calls, I have to do my follow up.
Okay.
I'm going to handle my follow up now. Now, in my follow up, that is just for leads that I've generated in the past that I have to get back to. You got 30 minutes. And I like doing timers because it puts time in perspective versus people are just thinking I have infinite time. I can do whatever I want, blah, blah, blah. It's like, hey, just like I'm at the gym, I'm focused. I'm at the gym, right? Or if you're doing prayer, I'm not doing anything else. I'm praying, right? Like I'm doing my thing, right? So I like everything I do, I try to do it similar. So now for 30 minutes, you're just going to do follow up. You got that handled. For the entire rest of the day, okay? I'll even say this. Let me say it this way. The next 30 minutes after your 30 minutes of follow-up, start your timer again, and you're going to do just cleanup, which is following up with your emails, reaching back out to all the people who called you. Like this is just mental cleanup, okay? Everything you have to call back your wife if she called you, like whatever you got to do, right? So this is just answer all your emails, your text messages. Now you can get back to people, okay? You were like, hey, I just spent all this time on me and my business. Now I get to follow up with other people and get distracted for 30 minutes. You're going to handle all that. You got 30 minutes to clean up your email, get back to everybody, do your thing. Okay? Maybe even go back to your red flags. If you didn't get a hold of it in the morning, you now have it from, call it 1 o'clock or 1:30 for 30 minutes. Then now the entire rest of the afternoon, which is 2 to 4 o'clock. The whole purpose of from 2 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon is offer generation. On my post-it note every day, I write 2 offers a day. Two offers means I am calling a buyer to get an offer on something, right? Which just means I'm trying to now sell the deals that I generated. Think about how cool this is, right? Your whole morning, you got organized right away. You handed some red flags. During your prospecting session, you generated the 2 leads like you're supposed to. You did your follow up. You got cleaned up there. Then you got into a whole day cleanup, mental cleanup, right? You handled all your text messages, your emails. Then you got into 2 hours of pure offer generation. Their goal, again, 2 offers a day. The reason why I always like to go for 2 is because a lot of people go like, oh, yeah, I did it in 5 minutes. I got an offer. I can go home now, right? Like, try to go for 2. If you do that every day, it's impossible not to make a ton of money in this business. Let's just be honest. Like yesterday, as an example, I wrote up 4 starter offers, which means offers that I had to start the negotiation with from offers from me. And then I also wrote up 6 true offers from actual buyers who were looking to transact on deals. That was me personally. My team did about, I don't know, 15 times that. So it's like every day, that's what we're trying to chase, right? 2 seller leads a day, 2 offers a day. Now it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You did everything I just mentioned. Okay. You got your 2 offers now. You really pushed as hard as you possibly can to try to sell some of the deals that you have, right? Your listed active listings, right? As an example, or your leases or whatever it is. Like obviously we're talking sales for a second. And you're trying to sell your off market deals as well. Like this is the whole purpose of that time, right? Because I do a lot, basically 100% off market deals. I have an off-market lead list of all of my active deals, quote unquote. And I take that entire list and all I'm doing for 2 hours in the afternoon, right? Every one of my agents, 2 hours in the afternoon, all they're doing is trying to sell those active deals. And if you don't have a buyer for something, I'm calling up people who just bought something in the last 12 months in that local area. And I say, hey, Bob, you just bought a property in the last, in like 6 months ago, 123 Main Street. I have a property at 127 Main Street, very similar property. Just curious if you'd be open to buying another property in the market. Now, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. What time would you feel comfortable leaving the office if I said like $1 million version of you?
6.
Okay, cool. From 4 to 6 p.m., you have 2 options and 2 options only, my friend. This is for client meetings. So you book all your meetings going forward, 4 to 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Why do you think I do this?
Stay focused with the lead generation.
I just don't get to be distracted. Nobody can distract me from my day. If I want to meet with somebody, I say, listen, I can do 4. I can do 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock. What works better? Or 4:30 or 5:30. Sorry, that's like typical times, right? 4:30 or 5:30. I got some time to go meet them. And typically, if you tell by the way, if you look at it, it's like a really far property. 5:30.
Yeah, right.
So it's like, so you always got to, obviously adjust whatever you got to do. And listen, if hypothetically you got to leave 30 minutes early, it's okay. But because think about how amazing you're going to feel in your body knowing, hey, look at everything I've accomplished today. And then you're like, okay, now I'm going to go meet that client, and then I can go home from that client. Okay, I don't need to go back to the office and then go home. Okay, that's why I also like to do it. I get to stay focused for as long as possible. Focused work equals money. So that those 2 hours in the afternoon, client appointments, or I said you have 2 options, right? Client appointments, you get back to prospecting or selling deals again. It's I would call it flex time. It's either prospecting, lead generation time, or it's meeting with clients. And that's it. And by the way, what happens during that entire day, an average agent with your type of experience level should be earning somewhere between $300 to $1 million a year in almost any marketplace around the country. 2 seller leads a day, 2 offers a day. You meet your clients in the afternoon. It's hard to screw it up. So what I want to do, I wrote down like a perfect millionaire version of you day.
Yeah.
The next 90 days, the goal is to do that perfect schedule as many times as you can. I'm not saying you're not going to get sick. I'm not saying things are going to happen. I'm not saying things are going to come up, right? Family stuff, whatever, vacations, whatever. I understand. But I want you to do it as often as you possibly can. If you can do 80% of your days like that, do you think you'll make more money?
Absolutely.
It'll be hard not to. So all I want you to do is like, when do you think you can start doing that typical schedule?
Starting next week, Monday.
Monday. Amazing. So what's going to happen now? Time for accountability. In the chat, in the WhatsApp group, which you will be added to shortly if you haven't been added already. What I want you to do is in the wins category. Okay, there's a wins channel. All I want you to do every single day is I just want you to log your wins, which is, hey, I generated 2 seller leads today, or whatever. All I want you to think about is like, because there's a bunch of people in there, I don't want you to care about anybody else. It's just you and I in the wins chat. Pretend like it's just you and me. But I like to it's a really easy way for me to stay organized and for you to just have a really nice, easy place for you to put it. And all I want you to do is write down all your wins from that day. Hey, I hit my, call it your millionaire schedule. I checked every box from my millionaire schedule. I generated 2 leads today. I made $427 today. I pitched, I got 2 written offers today, whatever. Write it all down. I want you to write it down and pretend like it's just you and me in that chat. And you're going to text me in that chat out loud. Okay. Every day, Monday through Friday. That's all I want you to do. So it's just you and me. Don't worry about anybody else. That's all I want you to think about.
So all the listings that I have and people that are calling to go and tour, I have to
6 o'clock.
put them off till later in the afternoon.
Because what'll happen is that if you go any other time or you go on a weekend. So I'm just saying what happens though is that you end up screwing your whole day. And think about it. I would even tell you, because again, like tenant rep work, right? You're saying. So what I would say is 2 days a week. I'm also okay with you doing an hour or two early because I know California is really tough with traffic. I would say an hour or two early. So like you can move. You got to take your whole day. Remember, like what you have to do every day doesn't change. You still got to do the same tasks, but you can leave an hour early, right? Like you can do an appointment at 3:30 and maybe Tuesdays and Thursdays. The problem is when you start eating into the rest of your day, you start getting really unproductive. Like as an example, what I'll do a lot of the times with people is I'll say like, listen, you got 4 time slots that you can book meetings. If it's not 4 to 6, you get to put the 4 time slots in one of a few different locations. It's either a weekend or one day a week. You can burn. You can burn one day a week, but you can't burn 4. Because what happens is most people are like, oh, I get to the office and then I get a phone call from a guy who wants to go tour a property 2.5 hours away. All of a sudden I'm gone for 5.5 hours. I come back. I didn't make any calls yet. Now I check my emails and I leave. So
Yeah, that's pretty typical of my day.
I understand. And that's why you'll get stuck at your income levels. So it's like the person who earns 7 figures, right? The version of you who does that is going to be someone who's so freaking disciplined with their schedule, nothing is going to block it out. Treat like everything like you do your devotion time. Because if you treat it the same way, you will see major levels of success.